Hey, my name is Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on fancy equipment for training, and most of us don't even have gym memberships. In fact, our motivation comes from within. You see, we have jobs, families, and responsibilities, but we still have big goals, and they aren't getting achieved at a Globo Gym. For that reason, we have to do things differently. Our training has to be smarter. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man or a ton of time to train, and we don't need it, because we are achieving amazing things without it. So how do we do it? If you ask your average personal trainer or gym goer, they'd call us crazy. Yet we're seeing results better than most every single day. And it's happening by blending mental training with physical training and becoming an athlete. What we call, and welcome to, Garage Gym Athlete.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. My name is Jared Moon. With me is Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Hey, what's up, man?
And we have I'm pretty sure the coolest name that we've had on the podcast so far, James Slade. What's up, man?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, dude. So first off, before we get into any questions about your garage gym, your training, anything like that, just give us some intro, man. Who you are, what you do, and how you train.
Yeah, sure. So I am a father of a 2-year-old daughter. I'm a husband. I work full-time in the corporate arena in a market research capacity. That's not really where my passion lies, though. That just pays the bills, quite frankly. I do identify as a garage gym athlete. That's my passion in life: fitness, health, nutrition, all that good stuff. And how I train is effectively whatever you have on deck for whatever program I'm taking part of at EO3. So right now it's shred. I'm wading my way through shred, and that's been a lot of fun. So
awesome.
There you go.
So tell us about your garage gym setup a little bit. What are you working with?
Sure. So I've got I'm one of the lucky few who's got a 3-stall garage. So I converted the whole third space into my garage gym space, and that's like my space in the whole house, right? That's my
awesome.
my sanctuary. Yeah, very, very blessed to have that third car space. It's awesome. If you guys ever have a chance to do it, you can dedicate it and still park inside, which is kind of important in Texas where there's hail throughout the whole spring, as Jared knows. So I've got horse stall matting on the floor throughout. I've got a P4 pull-up system installed in the wall. I've got a barbell with some minimum weights. I can probably total like 290, and then I can use some strength wraps to put some dumbbells on it and get up to the 350-ish range. But I'm not like doing any ollie lifting on that. It's a pretty honestly crappy old bar. You got to like screw on the ties, which is a big pain. But
nice.
it serves for now until I can buy a legit one from Rogue or Vulcan or wherever. I've got some dumbbells from like 10 pounds up to 65 pounds. I've got a couple of kettlebells. And then I've got a bench, and that's about it.
Sounds loaded, man. To be honest, the more garage gym athletes that we interview, the more I feel like I don't actually have that much stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot one thing. I read a Garage Gym Athlete book, and it taught me how to build a plyo box, so I've got one of those too.
Oh, perfect, man. Yeah, that's probably the most popular one because it's just so affordable to build your own plyometric box. To get one shipped to you is outrageous, just because of the shipping costs alone. So I think even if you're going to buy everything, at least build that. So good there. And so why do the garage gym, man? What started you down this path?
Yeah, totally. It's a great question. I think for most people, this is going to be a question that's like, I think it's going to find some way to be a sort of a personal question, because it's a big jump. I mean, especially if you take the leap from, the Globo Gym thing it's a huge investment, number one, financially, at least it can be. But certainly in the time and effort it takes to set up, what I just described. For me, it was when my wife told me that she was pregnant with our daughter. I was like, I'm spending a lot of time commuting to and from the gym. It's a lot of time away from the house. I don't get a lot of time already outside of work. I need to be very judicious and efficient with that time. And I don't want to be leaving all the time to go, pursue my passion, which is fitness. If I could just do it at home, that would be the ideal scenario. So it was really just wanting to be a more engaged father, a more present father. And it's it's been phenomenal that I can just walk out in the morning at 5:30, 6 a.m., get in a workout really, really quickly, right? 5 blocks and done, and then be back in and be a dad. So that was sort of the genesis of why garage gym for me.
That's awesome, man. And so you kind of mentioned there Globo Gym. Is that where you were coming from before Globo Gym? Maybe more bodybuilding style, or what kind of training were you doing at the Globo Gym?
Yeah, man, no doubt. So it's funny. I've heard you talk about it in the past, like on your podcast. Your foray into CrossFit kind of came from a similar place of bodybuilding, Globo style gym. I love the term practicing muscle contractions.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty hilarious, and that's what I was doing a lot of. A lot of concentration curls, a lot of tricep press downs, and I haven't done any isolated arm work in like 3 years, and my guns are probably the same size or bigger than they were when I was doing 1,000 curls a week or whatever it was. So yeah, I mean it was totally the 24-hour fitness, Globo Gym. Not to call anyone out specifically, I think those are great for some folks. But I sort of outgrew it, and coming from the place of having the cutoff sleeve, t-shirt that goes in here, shows off the pecs and the delts at the same time, and yeah, just doing all that Globo Gym stuff.
That's awesome, man. So that's quite the transition. So that actually makes me wonder, because you could have easily set up a garage gym and just bought more. You could have bought some like pulley systems and maybe machine work and stuff. So how did you transfer? Because what we do, you're doing our stuff is more strength and conditioning and definitely more functional. Where did that transition happen? Yeah,
so before I found End of 3 Fitness is when I at least had the idea to build out my garage gym or work out in my garage, and did a lot of things wrong in there for a really long time. Partially because I hadn't yet found End of 3. I hadn't yet found Garage Gym Athlete, the book, the website, which really teaches you to do it correctly, right? Like the most important piece of equipment in my garage gym is the floor matting, quite honestly. And I think most people will skip that step, and I did for a long time. And it led to a lot of failure and a lot of, honestly, probably injury over time, just because there's so much shock factor in a concrete floor in your standard garage. So what led to it was, I was doing that, but probably poorly at the time. I had like a few dumbbells, maybe one kettlebell, and that old barbell, and was just bashing up the floor and hurting myself. And I was Googling garage gyms, like how to build it out, what to do. And I found this blog post from this crazy sounding guy who was like, I'm going to run Murph every week for the next year just to prove that I can and to take the workout off the pedestal. And I was like, what is Murph? So Google, what is Murph, right? And then that leads into, of course, CrossFit and all of the named workouts. And I was like, this is amazing. And I guess, what drew me to the CrossFit, or I guess the more functional workout space, is that, I played football in high school. I'm a fairly competitive dude. Like, I want to go and compete and be athletic. That does not exist in bodybuilding. It's all about the aesthetics, right? So like you can get in there and you can throw a bunch of weight around, but there's really nothing to it. You're not really tracking for bigger numbers or to be able to run further or faster. So that's where the functional fitness piece kind of caught my eye. And then, again, I was pretty avidly following your Murph posts. And just watching I was like, that time is ridiculous. What your time is like, 30 minutes flat, 29 flat?
I think I finished at 27 and some change at the very number 52. So yeah, That's
right. You had a PR at the very last one. It was awesome. So, I was really motivated by that. And I was like, let's see what my body can do. Like, I've been fit before, but I've never really been super strong, super fast. You have really big lungs and do it all at the same time. So that's kind of what I guess pulled me in.
That's awesome, man. And speaking of Murph, so we were all, it was Memorial Day this year, right? Was it even Memorial Day? I don't know.
It was last year.
Yeah, I think it was like around this time last year,
or
maybe in October. Yeah.
Oh, wow, man, time flies. Yeah,
exactly a year ago. Yeah.
So yeah, I sent out an email. So a lot of people thought I was kidding. I sent out an email to everyone at End of 3 Fitness, and I was like, "It's like Murph at my house. Like, who's coming over?" And everyone's like, "Really? Like, you're inviting us over to your house?" I'm like, "Yeah, come." And I had a bunch of people sign up saying they were coming. And then when it came down to it, like, how many of us ended up showing up? It was like 5 or 6 of us, I
Five or
think.
six.
Yeah, five of us, I think.
And you were one of them, man, and that was awesome. And what did you think about your Murph experience at Mikasa?
Oh man, so that was probably the 12th or 13th time I've run Murph. But it was one of the most fun workouts I think I've ever had, just because of the group experience. You know, I've never done CrossFit at a CrossFit box, right? So that the group setting thing for me, that's not really part of my workout experience nowadays. It's mostly just, flying solo in the garage gym. So that added the camaraderie, that added a big element of fun to it. And plus I had a fairly big PR in it. So
that's what I remember.
Really
I remember you
fun.
had was it like 9 minutes or something like that? Or
yeah, it was like a 9-minute PR.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Thanks. I was pretty blown away, actually, by what I guess running a workout with other guys will do for you. I mean, in terms of like mentally being able to push yourself. So I really broke through a wall, I would think, doing that. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate you sending out the invite.
Dude, that was
very
awesome.
hospitable as well.
I'll probably do it again here once I get a little more settled on the East Coast here in North Carolina.
Run the hills of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Murph around here is going to be brutal, man. I'm like, don't ask me how it's possible, but every direction from my house is up a hill. So it'll be a lot of fun. But I want to know kind of the struggles. I know we've been talking to some athletes about weather, because we've been talking to guys like Midwest and up north, struggling with the cold. And you and I, to be honest, I mean, when I was in Texas, we were like 30 minutes apart. It's not like a very far drive. So I'm very familiar with your setup, but what have you found biggest struggles in being a garage gym athlete? And it doesn't have to be the weather. I mean, it could be anything from family, weather. What are your biggest struggles you come up with being a garage gym athlete?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, weather is certainly one to touch on. And I think we've all got our complaints, right? Like here in Texas, as you know, Jared, it gets so hot in the summer. And especially if you're in a garage gym box and you don't have, even if you do have a really big fan, you're not getting air circulation, and that breathing that, dead hot air is just tough on you. So like Murph through the summer is totally insane, but I have done it many times. Certainly a good practice in mental toughness. But you know what? The guys up north have the same complaint, where it's, if you live in Siberia, you're dealing with negative temperatures in your garage in Chicago. So that just is what it is. I guess one of the other challenges is that when you're at home and you have other stuff going on at home, you're really subjecting yourself to being interrupted by family or whatever is going on at home. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, because especially Jared, as you know, like if you're a dad, and you got to be a dad when they need you. So it's sort of it may not be a challenge, but certainly you got to be open to understanding that your workouts are not always going to be completed. You're going to get cut off halfway through, and wife and little kid are going to come out and go, "Hey daddy, we need you like right now." And you're going to have to go do it.
That's what's funny is when I first started the garage gym thing, I had a couple of my uncles that are really into fitness and working out, lifting weights and stuff, and they kind of helped me too get into all of this stuff. And I remember I told him I was going to set up a garage gym. I was talking to him on the phone. He's like, "Dude, don't do it." He's like, "I did that." And I was like, "Why not?" He's like, "It starts off fine, man, but he's like, over time, it's just like your wife just like barges in there with like, I don't care if you're working out, the dishes need to get done, or like, all this other stuff." And I was like, no,
Right.
no, it's not going to happen to me. But no, it happens. It's like there's sometimes your fitness no longer matters
Right.
because there are priorities that need to be taken care of in the family. But yeah, that definitely can be a challenge, man.
Right. It's not that tough to deal with. I mean, like, to get around that, what I've done is I've just talked with my wife about it. Like, look, 6 to 7 is my designated time in the morning. That's my time to work out. And if I go longer, then I'm fair game to be pulled out of that. And if I start earlier and finish sooner, then that's good too. But that's my time. And most of the time I get that because everybody's still asleep. Right. So
Yeah.
that's the easiest way to address that one. And then thirdly, as far as challenges go, I would say that, and I think you say this all the time, that nothing's ever going to be perfect. So you've got to, you got to deal with not having all of the equipment that you want right now. Like, big deal if you can't do handstand push-ups on parallettes yet. either go build them this weekend or, fork out whatever it is to buy them from Rogue. And that's just kind of is what it is. Like, I would love a much better barbell with bumper plates that I can, throw around the gym and snatch and, bounce off the ground, like Jared Enderton, but I don't have that yet. So you just kind of got to be okay with not having all the equipment just yet. And honestly, that's part of the fun of it is, like, I find a ton of satisfaction in the process of building out my space, Like, I've got it painted, I've got flags up, I've got, and that's fun for me.
And it makes it really hard. And I only bring this up because I just recently moved, but it makes it hard to move. Like, I just had to tear everything down. I had that giant rig in my backyard and like everything set up perfectly.
Right, yeah, your gym was sweet.
Probably one of the best spaces I'd ever set up, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be tough. And it was tough. Not only emotionally, but also just physically actually tearing all that stuff down and carrying it across the country is pretty challenging as well.
Well, at least you brought it with you.
Yeah, I got it all, man.
Again,
all right, so what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
Yeah, probably just about any workout in week 3 of any of your programming that you put out.
So it's week 3 where it starts to hit you.
Yeah, the week prior to the deload is typically pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I've been DNF'd many times on your programming and been like, man, Jared. So, but I can't think of anyone specifically. One man, one kettlebell gets pretty tough in week 3, but a lot of fun. I'd probably have to say, like, if I'm picking one specific one, that Murph that we ran together, only not because I hadn't run Murph. Like, Murph in itself is not that tough for me at this point in my fitness, but that one was tough because I was punching so far above my weight. Like, it was you and then and Joseph Van Dolen, I think.
Yep.
And you guys were just like flying through it with vests on. And I was like, well, I want to keep up, but candidly, my fitness level is not anywhere near you guys. So I really, really pushed myself and it hurt.
Yeah, dude. A 9-minute PR is not an easy feat. That's incredible. So I know that would probably hurt a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. But a lot of fun.
That was fun. All right, Joe, man, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so I think you might have already answered this earlier, but if you could have a top on what's the piece of equipment that's top on your wish list that you could have? No money isn't a factor or anything like that, but what's the most sought after piece of equipment you would want in your garage gym?
Oh, sorry, I have a barbell, but as I mentioned, it's pretty crappy. It's got like the screw-on ties. It's pretty much for like, I got it from my father-in-law gifted it to me, and he bought it like 25, 30 years ago. So it's pretty rusted out and it's pretty nasty. It's like the iron weights with the small circular inserts on them. So what's been on my wish list for years is like a legit barbell, right? One that has some, some tensile strength to it, that, it's got some whip to it. It's got, both good for Ollie, both good for powerlifting type stuff, not with a knurl. Like the knurl on my bar right now just absolutely trashes the back of my neck every time I squat. Yeah. It's fairly heavy. So that's kind of a pain. Yeah, that would be my top wish list for sure.
All right, man. Next time we do a barbell giveaway, I'm gonna weight your name like 5 or 10 times in the giveaway.
Yeah, awesome. Do it. I'm gonna put my name in several times with different usernames too.
Perfect.
I don't know. James Slade kind of sticks out. So.
Yeah, I gotta go with like John Smith, something like that.
I do. And so you've heard this question before if you listen to the Better Humanology podcast, but in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
Oh man, this is such a great question. I love the answers that your podcast guests on the Better Humanology podcast give to this, because it's always fascinating on the challenges side. I don't think there necessarily is one best practice. I think a really good practice is to do stuff like meditating on a fairly daily basis, cold showers, working out in your garage gym when it's freezing temperatures outside at 5 a.m. Like all that stuff that's all mental toughness building. But I think some of the key to that is sort of doing a lot of different things like that and periodizing it, so no particular tactic becomes stale. So you're always flexing that mental acuity, the mental flexibility thing. Because Jared, I seem to remember you mentioning this in the past. If you keep taking cold showers, like it doesn't it doesn't really yield returns in terms of mental toughness or continuing to build mental toughness. Just like fitness, if you keep doing the same stuff without periodizing your training, you're going to eventually become stagnant. I think that mental toughness is very similar. But if you have to ask for like one particular mental toughness tactic, I would say this: pick a goal in your life, whether it's like a fitness related goal, like, for me, maybe it's like I want to deadlift 500 pounds at 175 pound body weight, right? Pretty big goal. Or if it's a professional goal, like I want to make 100K this year, whatever it is, make it a fairly big goal. Don't tell anybody about it, and then work like hell to achieve it. And then when you do achieve it, also don't tell anybody. Don't post it on social media. Don't put it on Instagram. Don't put it on Facebook. And instead internalize, hey, I just achieved this. And then ask yourself, and this is a Jim Rohn tactic, ask yourself, why did I want to achieve that? Why did I do that? And when you have your answer, ask yourself again, why did I want to do that? And why did I want to do that? And just keep stair stepping down until you really find out the root of your motivation of whatever it is. And I think for some people, it'll be a really good practice in clarity of motivation. Like for some folks, they might go, yeah, I'm really glad I do that. I really, really wanted to deadlift 500 pounds at 175 pound body weight because it's a tremendous driver of self-confidence and motivation for what I want to do, like maybe with my career. And I think other folks might go, you know what? That's not that important to me in reality. Like maybe if my motivation, and this would be cool, but if your motivation is like, well, I wanted to do that thing so I could post it on Instagram so other people would think I was cool. Like that's probably fairly flawed motivation, and there are bigger things in life. So that's my mental toughness challenge.
That's pretty
for you guys.
good. That's check on someone's modesty too.
For sure.
Well, I do know the only real reason I moved out into the mountains in North Carolina is where I can have cooler Instagram pictures. But no, no, totally kidding. I think that's a great exercise, man, and really, because I've had this conversation with a couple athletes too. Extrinsic versus intrinsic motivators, and I think that it's easy for someone to understand that concept. Okay, extrinsic versus intrinsic. Something that's just surface level versus something that's really internalized to you. But getting there is, I think, a really difficult thing, like actually finding your intrinsic motivator, because it's really easy if you're married or you have kids or anything like that to just pin it on them, just to be like, and to be honest, a lot of garage gym athletes, we talked about, myself included, a lot of our motivation does come from our family, and so that's fine. I'm just saying that might not be true for every single person who has a wife and kids. Like you might be working out for a different reason. So I think the exercise that you just said is perfect, because if you're already pretty fit, let's say like you're a very fit individual, and so you might not have to work as hard just to be healthy. You know what I mean? Like you're past that healthy level of fitness. So anything beyond is like, I don't just want to like live longer for my kids. I want to be able to do cool shit with my kids, and and all this stuff. It might go a level deeper, and I think people don't ever fully get there. They might just pin it on like something that is big in their life, but they didn't fully answer that question why, like you were just talking about. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a super interesting thing when you look at like lifespan. And then you realize that lifespan and health span are two totally different things. Like you said, I want to live for a long time. I'd love to live to be 100 years old, but I would love to be just kicking it till I'm like 99 and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go run Murph at 99.
That's what one of my mentors, he always said, in fitness and coaching, he always said, yeah, he just wants to like maintain his fitness level until like he falls off a cliff or something at the end of his life, and like that's it. And I'm like, that's a good goal, as opposed to just having like these enjoyable years, followed by, I don't know, 30 years as a vegetable or something. That doesn't sound fun at all.
No, live long, die quick.
Yeah. All right, man, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I oscillate between I think about this all the time because I listen to your podcast, right? So it comes up all the time. I oscillate between a pull-up bar and a barbell.
Okay.
So pull-up bar because you can do a lot of body weight pushing, but being able to pull your body weight is a massive indicator and a growth factor for strength. So you can still pull on them. You can do like bent over rows and stuff with a barbell, but it's a different implement totally. And I guess the barbell really would probably win out tops just because of its versatility. There's so much you can do if you can load it.
And you might even be able to hang it somewhere to be a pull-up bar.
That's a good
I was
point,
gonna say,
too.
just go find a tree branch.
Well, you know what? That's not as easy
Right.
as it sounds. Because
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I did that year of Murph. And that was like that year that I decided to do Murph was also like the most I had traveled in the last 3 years combined. I traveled I think I took 7 or 8 trips that year. And I was just like, what you just said, I'll find a tree or, something.
Yeah.
How many times I had to spend almost like an hour before I even did the workout because there's no way I wasn't going to do it. So I'd spend like an hour. I'm like, okay, wow, I was actually in a forest once in New York where my in-laws live. And I walked around for 30 or 40 minutes and there was not a single branch that could support me doing a pull-up. It either broke or I couldn't reach it or I was just like, wow, this is way more challenging than it sounds,
Jeez.
But no, man, I think that's a great answer. The barbell I think has won out, by and large in that question. But it's a good one. It's a good instrument. All right, dude.
It really is.
The question of the Garage Gym Athlete podcast here. So what's your best advice for Garage Gym athletes out there?
Just be cool with stuff not being perfect and understand that if you've made the commitment to do the garage gym thing, that your motivators are a little bit bigger than just I want to work out or I want to slightly increase the level of convenience as it relates to my fitness goals. It's a deep commitment and you've got to really enjoy the process of building out that garage gym. Because when I started, I'd get down on myself all the time. Like, man, I'm lifting on this concrete. And then I got a little pad that was maybe 3x3 and I was still, bashing up the concrete. And now, maybe 3.5, 4 years later, I have a really legit space and I've thoroughly enjoyed building it after having put aside that, negative self-talk and this really sucks. I don't have all the right equipment. Who cares if you don't have the right equipment yet? It's going to be fun to build it out and you're going to be the finished product. You're going to be very, very proud of it. So just enjoy the process and be cool with everything not being perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, dude. Love it. All right, Joe, you have any other questions?
No, I think I'm good.
James, you have any questions for us?
Oh man, a bunch, but maybe not totally. Maybe I'll just post them on the message boards and thread. I want to make sure I'm doing it right.
All right, man. We'll get you taken care of course. All right, James, it's been a blast talking to you, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.